We are all interested in what will happen next. Will they add new characters or return some of those who turned into abstracted monster, and many other events of the new second episode of the amazing digital circus we will consider in this video. So be sure to watch this video to the end so you don't miss anything. Hello everyone, we will be able to watch the second episode very soon, and that means it's time to talk about the events that will be shown in the new episode. We have already covered a lot of things in previous videos. Mini teaser of the new episode, learned what new characters can be added to the digital circus, and who, on the contrary, can turn into an abstract monster. At the same time, we missed other important details, because the digital circus is not a horror movie or something like that, but just a black comedy, which can be laughed at, but at the same time, it can make us think about some things or even be horrified by them. The pilot episode has already reached such a level that few people can compare with it. By the way, the pilot already has almost 240 million views, and it's only been 3 months. Let's not hesitate and start our amazing digital video. The most discussed aspect of the new episode is of course the new characters. Many people are wondering if they will appear or not. There are many arguments in favor of it, but on the other hand, some factors make us realize that this might not happen. Everybody thinks that the new characters must be people who got into the digital circus and took one of the pictures that Cain offered them, and that's most likely. But why doesn't anyone consider different NPCs as new characters? Because that would be just as interesting as a new protagonist. In this video, we will talk about both. We've already seen the Gooseworx Queen, who was shown in the middle of the pilot episode, and she was introduced as an anti-hero. You could even say an enemy to our characters. But if you think about it, what kind of enemies can there be in a digital circus when this place is considered colorful and safe, where you don't have to eat or sleep and you can just have fun all day long and no one will say anything bad to you? So such characters cannot be taken seriously as enemies. Besides, we have known for a long time that Gooseworx and their queen were created by the digital circus itself, or more precisely, by Cain himself. Now imagine if something very serious were to happen that completely violated the rules of the digital circus, and what would happen? It is likely that Cain will create one or more really horrible NPCs that pose a real threat to our characters, because no matter what anyone says, Gooseworx Queen has no intention of seriously harming anyone. Finally, the AI will not create NPC with a negative attitude towards our characters, because the essence of the adventure is to amuse the inhabitants of the circus, not to harm them. Even such a sinister place as the Gooseworx Cave contains an ordinary escalator, thanks to which Jax, Zubul, and Kinger and return to the territory of the tent. And what if the giant and evil NPCs have such an installation? I think in this case, our favorite characters are going to have a very difficult time, and they are going to have to sweat a lot just to survive in this digital circus. It's really hard for me to imagine what it would take for Cain to take that step. Although there is one character who has already had enough of Cain, and if she behaves the same way in the future, the scenario with the appearance of evil NPCs is quite realistic. I think you noticed that I was talking about Pomni and her passionate desire to find a way out of the digital circus. After all, even a cursory glance will show you how many times this behavior has caused Cain to become evil. And so no one can guarantee that Pomni won't continue her quest, and I'm even sure that she won't stop, and we'll see a similar picture in the new episode, and that's when the real fun will begin. Or all the characters could leave Cain's adventure, which would also break the rules of the digital circus. But as we have already seen, our characters have no choice but to take part in every adventure. Zubul has already experienced the consequences of this refusal. She firmly refused to participate in the new adventure, to which Cain said that she had the right to choose and could not participate. But these were just words. In fact, she was forced into this adventure in a rather violent manner. I think it was some kind of warning that the circus system will not forgive anyone who breaks the rules and will make you obey anyway. I'd be very interested to see what happens in such a case. In the meantime, please comment on what it would take to break the rules of the digital circus and what the consequences might be. With the NPCs, we've already dealt with that, so it's time to talk about new characters who, like Pomni, will enter the digital circus or return from the horrible basement. In one of my videos, I suggested that a new character could only appear in the case of an abstraction of one of the old ones. And it's been known for a long time that every new episode will be dedicated to one of the existing characters. And something doesn't add up here, because the pilot episode was all about Pomni, and even if we count the pilot episode as the first episode, we still have 7 episodes left. And besides Pomni, there are only 5 characters in the digital circus, and even if episode 8 is the end of their journey, we still have at least 1 episode for a new character. Of course, you might say, what about Cain? But I'm sure his personality will be revealed to us more and more with each new episode, so there won't be a separate episode dedicated to him. And there is a high probability that we will see a new character in the next episode, and only after that we will be introduced to all the others. Because in that case, we will be able to observe the big picture for everyone without interrupting it with the appearance of some new character. New rooms. This is a very interesting topic that I don't want to miss. We've already seen a lot of mysterious, obscure, and ordinary doors from new rooms that we haven't seen yet. And we need to find out some information about what happened to the inhabitants of these rooms, and Gooseworx himself has long said that we will eventually be able to look inside these rooms. It's still unclear if we'll only be able to see the rooms of those who are currently characters, or if we'll be able to see the rooms of all characters. I'm more certain that we'll be able to see absolutely every room, and that we'll be able to explore one of those rooms in the next episode. And according to the latest teaser, we will be able to see Pomni's room in the next episode. That's 100% information. But in addition to this room, we should be shown the room of one of the characters who turned into an abstracted monster, and now I will explain why. Maybe each of these rooms with a crossed-out character looks exactly like Kaufmo's room. You can see exit inscriptions on the walls. There will be clutter everywhere, some strange drawings, and no less strange, I would even say frightening pictures. Is it possible that the constant thought of the exit is the main reason for the abstraction? Or are there other factors that contribute to this uncanny process? We can only answer this question by exploring the spaces of other abstracted figures. More information about Cain. Cain is a very interesting character. Many people like him for his mysteriousness. And it seems to be obvious that Cain is the main villain in the digital circus because his strange behavior, which does not inspire any trust or rude treatment of some characters, including Kaufmo, who even drew a very scary picture on the wall of his room, fully confirms it. It seems that Cain just keeps the characters in the digital circus and has fun with them in any way he wants. But don't think that he's selective in his desires and preferences. We all know that Cain is an artificial intelligence, and all his actions are pre-programmed. His main task is to entertain all the inhabitants of the digital circus and, if necessary, to eliminate various malfunctions within the system of the digital circus. We can even say that Cain is the amazing digital circus, and our heroes communicate with the digital circus through an intermediary like Cain. Cain is hardly a heartless creature who only wants to harm all the other characters. He just doesn't understand the feelings of people who are in the digital world. Everything is logical and understandable to him, so everyone else should understand it too. Although sometimes Cain's behavior really makes us think that our toothy administrator really is a villain. After all, at first he says that the output is just a digital hallucination, but after a while he says that it is one of his unfinished projects. I would be very interested to see how his personality is revealed to us in different situations in the future. After all, he positions himself as a good helper, but as soon as something unusual happens, he becomes very strange. And here I would like to return to the first point I made about the refusal of all the characters of the digital circus to take part in the new adventure. It would be very interesting to see his reaction, and there is also a theory that all the characters will realize what hell is going on within the walls of this digital space, and gradually begin to expose everything that is going on around them, including Cain himself. And only then we will be able to find out the real Cain and if he really is a programmed artificial intelligence or if he is just pretending to be one to realize his evil ideas. And I also want to talk about the likelihood of new locations in the next episode. We've already seen the design of the tent in several episodes, so we have a rough idea of what's inside. But besides the tent, we have an obscure lake with a beautiful yacht and an amusement park, and there is a possibility that the new episode or part of it will take place in one of these locations. To be honest, I would like to know more about the amusement park and see if Pomni's vestibular apparatus can withstand the stress that the digital circus will provide. I don't think so, and of course we need more information about the void and the basement, because we've only seen a little bit of it, but they've left a lot of secrets behind. I really hope you enjoyed this video. As usual, I wish you success and good luck and say see you in the new videos that will appear on the channel every 2 days.